is a multicultural country that welcomes thousands of immigrants each year. Despite being so warm and welcoming, unfortunately, thousands of people decided that they no longer want to call Canada their home. Because of this, they have made the decision to leave. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, drop a comment, and don't forget to turn your post notification bell on. So guys, we know that a lot of people are coming to Canada or are interested in coming to Canada. However, you have a lot of people who are actually leaving Canada. Because of this, I will be discussing a few reasons as to why people are no longer interested in coming to Canada or people are actually leaving Canada. First obvious reason is the extreme weather condition. And we're not just talking about cold, because when Canada gets hot, it gets hot. Your skin burns, your skin constantly itches. It is no joke. The cold, we need not mention the cold. It is very, very cold in Canada. For half of the year or more, depending on where in Canada you are, you have to be in big boots, big jackets to protect yourself from the cold. That can be a bit depressing. Or, just constantly having to get up every morning to go to work in the cold, in the snow. So some people just prefer to come here, gather what they need to gather or achieve what they need to achieve and leave. The next reason is the high cost of living. And this includes owning a home. You have many people living in Canada who have never owned a home, or they don't see it possible because the cost of living is so high to even pay rent. Food is very expensive in Canada, even for a family of two. Because of this, a lot of people are just living hand to mouth because they are in jobs that are not paying so much to be able to afford the food, then the bills, the rent, all of that. So people just decide that I don't think this is for me. I am going to leave, because at the end of the day, they're not saving anything, they're not seeing anything. The next one ties in smoothly, and this is the work-life balance. Work-life here is ridiculous. You come in, you rest, and it's time to go to work. That's what people who are working 2 or more jobs, that's where it's at for some people. If you're working one job, it is tiring, because you have to do overtime, and this doesn't apply to everybody obviously, but some people have to do overtime to make ends meet. So the constant working, overworking your body, overworking your brain, not having time for social life, not having time for friends, not having time for family, people decide that this is not worth it. It's not worth it. Probably where they're coming from, if they're immigrants, because born and bred Canadians are also leaving. But if they are immigrants, some of them reason and conclude that they never used to live this kind of life, so they don't want to be living like this forever. So they decide to just go back home. Our next reason is the undesired profession. So you have people who came here working a lot of money from back home, and they came, say for example, as doctors, and they're told that they cannot work in the same profession. Well, not just like that. They have to either go back to school, or they have to do a few courses. They have to get the license in order to practice their profession. This can be a very time-consuming and expensive process. So some people just decide to work in any job that they can get, which is just a fraction of what they are worth or what they should be getting. Half of the time, it's just not worth it, because you already paid to get this profession or to be certified in this area, and now that you should be reaping the benefit, you actually aren't, or you're supposed to start over. So it's a case where people just decide to go where their certification is accepted. Yeah, and I know a few people here who especially are in the healthcare field, and they just can't practice on their certification and qualification. So all their experiences are basically going down the drain, and in order to provide for their family, they just have to take a job that's paying minimum wage or a low paying job to be able to support their family. So Some people decide to just, tough it out and push forward to get what's necessary in order to practice here, while others decide that I just feel like it's best to leave. And it's totally understandable. And a point to note also is that even people who studied here have to take jobs that are not in their area of study, and jobs that are paying less than what they have paid to get certified. Some people have master's degree and they have to work in jobs that are not paying not even a fraction of what they paid to get their education. So it's not just people who get certified abroad, it happens even to people who are certified in Canada. So some people are just leaving where they can either make more money or where they can work in their area of practice, and it's just the reality. Our next point is high taxes. Guys, when you get your pay stub and you see the large portion that comes out for tax, you wonder, what did I work for? What did I actually work for? Like, the taxes here, they are very high. And it's not just taxes that come from your pay, but also you pay taxes on food, you pay taxes on clothes. So, if you're from a country where you just pay taxes, like, just the general taxes that they take from your pay, you're somewhat used to that. But when you get here, they tax everything. They tax every single thing. And if you're not used to that, it's gonna be hard for you. At the end of the day, when you work, the high taxes come out, you're left with just a small portion. And then you have to pay taxes on your food. You have to pay taxes on your clothes. You have to pay taxes on other stuff. So you find that at the end of the day, you are basically left with nothing, and everything is in taxes. Don't get me wrong, the government does use their taxes. You can see where the taxes actually go. But when you check your pay stub and you see the large chunks, you are like, this is a bit too much. This is a bit too much. So some people really can't handle that and they just leave. The next point is loneliness. It is actually hard to find a friend and a partner in Canada because they take harassment so seriously. Probably that is one of the reasons why it is so hard. So a lot of people resort to dating sites or, links. Like, a friend who know a friend who know a friend, and they put you guys together. But if you don't know anybody, it's kind of hard. You have to go places to meet these kind of people who will approach you, perhaps the club or the bar. Those places are more likely for people to approach you rather than just randomly on the street. And chances are meeting people in those places, I'm not saying all the time, I'm just saying chances are meeting people in those places, you may not get the partner that you're looking for. So a lot of people here, they just end up being single, or it takes them a while to find somebody. Even just to find a friend is very hard because everybody's busy, everybody's on the go, everybody's working, everybody's just focused on building themselves, that people really don't really have time to go out with a friend or to get to know people, everything that friendship entails. It's really hard making friends here because you're just so busy. You're just in your own world. You're dealing with your own issues. And not everybody can handle being alone. Not everybody is an introvert. And even for introverts, it does get hard sometimes. So people just go where people are more friendly in terms of they approach you. Here, people don't generally say good morning or extend greetings. So it's really hard finding friends. So people just move to places where it's easier or places where they can find a partner. Next point, you guys, is homesickness. Yes, homesickness. You miss your friends, you miss your family, you miss your food, you miss your music, you miss all of that. But it all depends on where in Canada you are. It may be easier for some people. So people who are in Ontario, for example, they probably won't feel loneliness to this extent because it's easier for them to source their food. It's easier for them to get the music that they want. It's easier for them to, go to parties. all those stuff. But we can agree that most times it's not authentic, and you just want to be where you are surrounded by your people, by your food, by your culture, all of that. So some people just decide they want to be with their family, they want to retire with their family, they want to retire in their home country, they want to retire around or surrounded by their culture, so they leave. The next point is healthcare. Guys, if you compare the Canadian healthcare with a lot of countries, it is very good. Like, very good. The doctors are good, the system is good, it's clean, everything like that. Don't get me wrong. But for certain things, the wait time can be long, like very long. Even to see a doctor at the hospital, it can be very long, like 6 hours before you can see a doctor at the hospital. Even to get a family doctor, some people spend even up to a year in the country and they still do not have a family doctor. To do certain surgeries, to see specialists, it takes a long time, and this varies depending on where you are in Canada. But in general, these things do take time. Some people have to leave the country to go to other countries to get surgery done. They have to leave to get to see a doctor, constantly being back and forth with getting care. They decide that, listen, I'm just going to stay where I am. I'm just going to stay in this country. It's not worth it. The next point is depression. Can you imagine all of those and not be depressed? Come on. So depression is very real here. A lot of people have never experienced depression before coming to Canada. That's to show that depression is very real in Canada. It is highly likely, and I'm not saying you must, but it is highly likely that after living in Canada or while living in Canada, you are going to get depressed. Seasonal depression is one. General depression, having to meet the high cost of living, not having friends, not having anybody to vent to, not being able to go places just to release stress. It can be hard. So you have those people who really prioritize mental health and nothing comes before that. So if leaving Canada is what will keep their mental state intact, they are going to by any means leave, just to be stable, just to be mentally pure, just to be in the right state of mind. And finally, we have unfulfilled expectations. So you do have people who come here and they think that Canada is a bed of roses and there are no thorns. Baby, that's far from the case. As I just listed, you do have in Canada unemployment, you do have mental issues, you do have high cost of living, you do have people who are not meeting certain standard of living, and you have people who are just depressed in general. But you have those who think that these things do not exist in Canada. You come to Canada, you get rich, you'll be able to buy a car within the first month, you're going to get a job as soon as you land in Canada, you will be able to travel, you're going to have a lot of money. All of those things are what people feel like Canada is about. Just migration in general, but I'm just talking about Canada here. So when you come, you see that you have to work hard, and not just hard, twice as hard as you would back home. Remember, most people, especially if you look different, if you sound different, it's gonna be hard for you. So when you come and you realize this is far from what I expected, you start to weigh the pros and the cons. You start to weigh what you're used to. You start to compare, and that's when you decide that you have to go, you have to leave. And so, these people leave. But this video is not to say that Canada is not a beautiful place, but we have to accept the reality and we have to face it and understand that these are real reasons why people are actually leaving. And for those people who are going to come and be like, oh, so go back to your country, and then why you don't go back to your country, that's exactly what the video is about. Going back to your country, going back where you came from. Even people who were born here are actually leaving. That's what the video is about. So before you come at me, please listen and watch the video carefully. Anyway, if you guys have any other reasons as to why people are leaving, or any reason as to why you would leave, feel free to put them in the comment section. Also, if you have a different opinion, you can respectfully leave your comments below so that we can have a civilized conversation. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, turn your post notification bell on, and guys, if you have made it this far in the video, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, bye.